Just a big welcome from Gareth and from myself, from Chris at RCU. We're going to look at how vector and market intelligence and data is being used by colleges to inform strategy planning and support for area reviews. We've been working more and more with colleges on a whole range of issues. Many of those are focused around preparing for area reviews and how that's going to impact the college and the local community. Some of the sort of questions that we are supporting colleges with are on the screen. Things like how we can look at strategic partnerships with other organisations, where there is an overlap of provision. How does the curriculum meet the needs of local community, whether it's individuals or employers? How can our curriculum be delivered in a most effective way to generate income? A whole range of topics. And to answer that, there is a whole range of data out there. Some of it's very difficult to get hold of, which is why organisations such as RCU exist to try and get hold of that sort of market intelligence and put it into a platform which can be analysed easily for colleges. Obviously, we do a whole range of research and supporting sector tools such as Vector and such as the LMI tool. Very briefly, Vector tool, most of you already have it, provides that sort of local community detailed information on your market presence, your market share, who your competitors are, who are the other providers in your area, and where is there an overlap of provision. And the LMI tool, a more recent product, looks at that link between skills demand and supply of apprenticeships in your local area as well. We're not going to look at the LMI tool today. We will do another session on that, but we'll look at the Vector tool in more detail for you today. So Gareth is going to talk to you now about Vector, how it comes together, how it's delivered, what it looks like, and then once we've gone through some of these slides, we'll go on to a working example and do a couple of case studies so you can work through some of the problems that we've been dealing with.
We're actually going to use Rebecca's, aren't we, from Salford City College. She's kind of allowed us to do that. She's an avid user of Vector and has spoken at several sessions we've had now about how they've used it as well. Okay, so we'll move on. You can just see there, Chris has really talked about this, really about how it can help look at things like market share, trends will come on to the curriculum that you're offering and everybody else is offering. So you can start to see where there's overlap, where there might be specialisms and where there's gaps, etc., and how it's different between different provider types. Also look at the makeup of different providers in the area, who's in your location, are they schools, are they colleges, etc. Travel to learn patterns are in there as well, all of those as well. It's in there. The first starting point with Vector is to build your recruitment area. Most of you have Vector, we're familiar with this. What we do, we have access to the full ILR, historic ones as well as current ones. We've got the year end 14-15 ILR at the moment. So that covers everything, young people and adults, apprenticeships, everything that's on a government funded programme is in there. And we have that for all institutions, not just the ones who are looking at Vector. We also then get the schools data from the Department for Education and blend that in together. So then we've got a full picture of all post-16 learning going on in an area. The only learners that aren't in there are people who are doing like commercial learning through a private provider and some independent schools. And what we do really, because it's all based on Google Maps, based on ward level, we look at the number of learners at your institution in a ward, and we basically start from where the college is located and build out and out and out till we get to about 80% of your learners, and we generally call that the core area. And on the two examples we've got on the screen here, they are both shaded red. The one on the left-hand side is a traditional recruitment area where you have your main core area in red and then an outer area as well, which is always shaded blue, and that takes you up to well into about 90% of your learners are in that area. So that's important. But once we've got that agreed with yourselves, the rest falls into place, really. Everything is based on the information contained in that area. What we can do as well, because we're working at Google Maps, one thing that's really important is just how we can be precise in how granular we get down into the research. And what we'll come on to later very briefly is a live map, but this just shows that what we can do in Vector is pick a subject area. So here it's nursing and social care, at a health, nursing and social care, should we say, at level 2, and then that plots the college's market share by ward. Reds are where it's highest and blues goes is where it's shortest. You can start to see there where the college is recruiting most of its level 2 health and social care learners from, so you can really focus on that recruitment area. But what that also shows is how quickly that market share drops from being red to where it's highest, maybe about above 40 or 50%, to blue where it's probably about 5 or 10%. So you can start to see how rapidly that market shifts. And sometimes that's because there's geographic barriers there, rivers or a hillside, or sometimes it's because there's an alternative provider in there, and Chris later on will show you how you can see if that's the case or not. But also it does sometimes show up that actually why have we only got 30% of learners in that ward and when there's a lot of learners to go at. And so the next question that people generally say to us is, well, is okay, if they're not coming to me, where are they going? So what you can do again on Vector is start to see, okay, well, in a particular ward that we're looking at, or in a particular area, on a particular level and subject area, how many learners have I got? And that slide there shows it's about 10. But actually, there are 37 going to sixth form colleges. So you can start to see in that particular area, your competition is sixth form colleges. And probably if it's level 2, you can start to then go into the curriculum area to start to see what is the provision that the sixth form colleges are delivering that's attracting a greater proportion of learners than what I'm delivering as well.
Yeah.
And as you can see on there, it's not particularly the other FE colleges that are the competitors on there. So that's quite useful. And then another major important thing is people say, well, what's been happening over the last 3 years? What are the trends like? So a major part of Vector is its trend analysis. And again, you can do this by subject and level and different geographic areas as well. And the red line on there happens to be this college. So you can start to see this as 16 to 18 classroom learning, all subjects in its main area. And you can start to see how it's had a decline in overall 16 to 18 classroom learners, whereas the purple line on there that's increasing are sixth form colleges. And again, the green line on there is other FE colleges. So you can start to see is where sometimes it's due to demographics that the volume of 16 to 18 is going down, but you always sometimes get some providers that book that trend and are increasing. School sixth form is one that we've seen quite recently is more and more open. Those volumes increase and sometimes start to plateau if they become full. So you can start to see who your main competitors are as well. And you can do all that for, say, apprenticeships, for adults as well. Okay, so we'll just move on a bit there. What we do have, and I mentioned it earlier, is real detailed curriculum analysis level. This is now done at enrolment level. And you can pick a sector subject area. I think here we've got art and design and at level 2. And you can start to see what are the enrolments at your college. So, for example, on this one, they've got 13 enrolments on the level 2 diploma in art and design. But then when you look in the next column, which says other FE colleges, you can just see how many enrolments there are going to other FE colleges and the wider range of subjects that they're offering, delivering at that level. I think things on there in textiles, interactive media, creative crafts. So you can start to see actually, the curriculum elsewhere might be more diverse. It might be more innovative. Sometimes is what we see. We start to see things like podcasting coming up, don't we? And things like that. And you actually think that sounds quite attractive to young people. Whereas when you look at your own curriculum, it might be fairly traditional and it's been the same for quite a while. And again, you pick your own geography on there. So it's all people in an area that are on there. And we can come back to that as well. And then one thing that is important, we find it more and more important, is how we start to analyse the future, really. What Vector has in there are the school leaver cohorts coming through for the next 5 years. And every time we update Vector, we just roll that on a year. And these are now brought down to ward level. And one thing that we've introduced, and Chris will show in a minute, is now how we can show which of the wards and which of the schools they're going to have the biggest increases in year 11 leavers or the biggest decreases. And then you can compare that to your school's liaison, what your market share is like in those areas. So you can start to look at where you position yourselves in the Vector. And again, what we have on here as well, we've added back into Vector, quite timely for area review, is competitor analysis. So basically within your area that you're located, who else is located in there and what are their learner numbers as well? That's quite important, really, isn't it? Now, so you can start to see, actually, in a local area, it might be yourselves as the only GFE and the rest of the competitors of the schools. But if you look at a wider patch, maybe a LEP area, you can see the volumes of FE colleges that are in the area, in the volume of learners that they have. So that's been quite important, quite useful when people just getting around, starting to get their head around area review. What is the basis like? What are the learner volumes elsewhere? Okay.
All right. So what we will do, I think, is we take it from there and we'll go into a live example.
Yeah, please.